Tune into that frequency. Tell me where it hits you. So I don't know if you had an opportunity to grab a hold of a black candle or any herbs to burn or anything if you have it, but I've got it for you, so it's not a big deal if you don't. Whew, I'm feeling that right here to here. Okay. So talk to me, y'all. What do you think of when you think of divine masculine? When you think of the divine masculine, what are some things that come to mind? Divine masculine, throat and heart. Between here, that thymus chakra. Let's do that again then, girl. Or them, y'all. Sorry. I call everybody girl or dude. Really, my apologies. I'm trying to be gender neutral here, out of respect. Whew. I feel it between here and here. The frequency is, all I know is it's a middle G. There. Okay, I picked up on that. My apologies. Yep. Thank you for confirming. I'm thinking this is, ooh, that was a big one. We're waking that up. We're waking that up. You know, whew. Whew. So we have emotions here. Do we need to pull something out? Do we need to take our breath and pull that up on the inhale? Pull that up. Does anything need to come up? Earlier today when I was working with a client, she felt like a rock here. We had to break that up. And I've talked in other videos, but this is where our soul's memories from every incarnation is stored here. Trauma and pain. This soul is locked here. This is, you know, I went to my ancestor altar the other day. They were nagging me to come visit them. And I thought they wanted an offering, so I was giving them an offering. And I was thanking them. Okay, let's bring that up with your breath. Try to pull it up to that third eye with your breath. And I was thanking them for their help, and they thanked me for the work that I'm doing. And they explained to me that as we do this work and we're liberating ourselves, we are doing that ancestral work, that we're freeing them from purgatory. Purgatory is being locked in this cycle of reincarnation. Fire, exactly. Yes, definitely fire. Fire for sure. For divine masculine energy. So I want to talk about, I'm glad that you said powerful driving energy, because one of the things that's come up for me, oh, by the way, purgatory, this is purgatory where our soul is locked here. We want to open this, and that's what I do, is we crack this open, and we're going to get to that after we talk about the divine masculine and feminine. We're going to crack this open and let our soul's pain out. We're going to free it from this prison of reincarnation. And as we do that, we set our ancestors free. They're likely on this earth with us. You feel rejection and abandonment come up? Absolutely. And then that travels down to that solar plexus right here. I mean, to that power center right here. So talking about divine masculine energy, we all have it. All of us have it, regardless of how we present or identify or the chromosomes we have in our body. I hate that divine masculine has society, patriarchy, has assigned masculine to men and feminine to women, and then doesn't want to identify that there are, you know, other genders that exist, or non-genders, right? So when I like to think of it in terms of elements, fire and air. So fire, let's think of toxic masculinity. Fire is chaotic. It burns. It needs to be kind of stoked, right? But also it needs to be watched and not burn out of control. And then air can be stagnant, or it can come in like a tornado and tear shit up, right? So when thinking about the masculine energy in me, just a little story if you haven't seen it, is the other day I was having anxiety while I was doing some work, trying to get some tasks done. And it was annoying me, but I was ignoring it. I kept just pushing it down, trying to get work done. And then I heard something about a somatic scan of the body. And I'm like, ugh, I need to feel what these feelings are. And then I realized that my masculine has the drive and ambition to get things done. And it's just running rampant right over my feminine energy, which needs to feel some feelings and express some feelings. So a lot of us are taught that we're supposed to look for this counterpart outside of ourselves, when really the goal of enlightenment, of awakening, this whole spiritual process we're going through is divine union within of the masculine and feminine energies, or the polarities, or fire and air and earth and water, you know, however you want to look at it. I prefer elements. It's coming together. So because of that masculine energy keeps running over that feminine energy internally, our feminine energy doesn't trust the masculine. We don't feel safe to feel our feelings internally. So we have a lot of anxiety or fear. And then when that builds up, what happens? When that emotion finally comes up, that water energy, it's like a tidal wave. It fucking just floods everything out. Or an earthquake. When water and when water and earth get together, okay, well, you've got tsunamis now, right? When that divine feminine has had enough. Okay, and so then we get out of balance, back and forth, back and forth. For a lot of years, I thought I was being balanced. What I realized I was doing was going between fire and air. So fire, again, ambition, drive, you know, passion. Air is logic and detachment and dissociation and cold. And I thought that was being balanced, but all I was doing was staying on that one side of my being. I was not living in union. And what's so amazing about this Pluto retrograde energy that's coming is is it a sextile? Oh shit. The trine or a sextile with Venus. Trine with Venus and then the sextile with Mercury. And these energies are going to allow us to deal with polarities that are in us. So we have all these polarities going on in us. So what does it look like to be like balanced in those energies? If it's not being logical and calm or passionate and driven, then what does it look like, you know? What does it look like to be balanced? Oh, thank you. And this makes it safe for men and non-binary people. I'm doing my best to try to get away from that other stuff. It's hard to break these binary patterns, right? So if we want to talk about what is water, what is a wounded water or wounded feminine look like in non-binary male and female, a wounded feminine energy in us. So water can, you know, wounded feminine is fear and anxiety. When we have fear or anxiety in our bodies, that tells us we have a wounded feminine energy. When we don't feel our feelings, we don't know how to feel our feelings. We think we're feeling our feelings when we think about them. That's air energy taking over. You know, when we come back into our body to do like a somatic scan or scanning the body, that's coming back into earth. That's coming back into the feminine energy. Feminine energy is nourishing. It takes care of ourselves. So it's like when you are afraid, when you are sad, when you're hungry, when you're tired, when you have a pain in your shoulder from sitting and working, what do? How do you react? Because I know that I can be working sometimes and my shoulder will be killing me and I will literally ignore that pain and keep working. That's my masculine energy of literally abusing my feminine energy. Hey, France. Oh, thank you. Balance. It's so hard though, because I didn't realize I had been balancing between fire and air. I was still living on the masculine side of my being. I was balancing on the masculine between passion and anger and rage and all those other things. And then rational logic, detachment, you know, those are two different things. I mean, those are the same side and they're both detached. I still have a whole left side of my being that I wasn't living in. So when I was thinking about like, I was all up in my right side of my brain. Left side of my brain today. In my masculine studying. I love Mercury energy. I love Mercury. And this Pluto retrograde is going to be in Capricorn, third decan. And that third decan is influenced by Mercury. And Mercury's coming into Gemini on the same day. Gemini is ruled by Mercury. Half my chart is I love Mercury because it allows us to just go in and ask those questions, okay? So toxic masculinity in the way that we think of like elements, fire and air, okay? Forceful, dominating, destructive. And we're not thinking about way people treat us. I want us to stop and not think about our external friendships, our external partnerships, our external like lovers or past relationships. Let's stop and think about these words when I say them, about how we treat ourselves, how we work in ourselves, okay? Forceful, it's the fight primal instinct. So when we feel like fighting, that's fire. When we want to fight somebody. Forceful, dominating, rash, impulsive, overbearing, defensive, territorial, possessive, easily frustrated and irritated. Think about fire when it pents up, right? Dependent on other people to keep going, or other outside sources. Because remember, fire needs to be stoked and you have to keep an eye on fire and you have to keep feeding it shit, right? So that's where addictions come in, and coping skills and other substances. And then you have air, dissociated, detached, narcissistic, gaslighting, histrionic, sharp and cold, emotionless, dogmatic, argumentative, cognitive dissonance, unfair, arrogant, calculating, masking in the sense, not like neurodivergent masking, y'all. I'm not talking about that, like two-faced-ish, shame rather than remorse. And then like staging and performing, like repressing those emotions. So we're putting on an act. That would be air. Okay. Yeah. Gemini. Yeah. Two-faced. And so the fire is more primal, toddler-ish, right? And then the air is more like mature masculine, but again, still same side of the coin. So we're still living only as, and you can be any gender and operate in those things, I'm Italian. You don't think that I run this mouth and yell? So one of my main things was trying not to yell. So what did I do? I became detached because my emotions were so big. So I would become detached thinking that was I would be dissociated thinking that was like, taking a step back and grounding. I had them confused. Okay. So then the wounded feminine, the wounded water, does the fawn and freeze response. Fawning is where you appease, because water is very accommodating. And so a fawn response is going to want to please around and not have needs, put their needs to the side. And we're doing this internally, right? Like I had to go to the bathroom earlier and I was having to rush. And I kept saying, you're ignoring your feminine. Your feminine is telling you to go to the bathroom and take care of your body, and you're literally ignoring it. And I had to go stop working, masculine Deborah. And I'm having to train myself to listen to that part of me that says, take care of yourself, because that is my feminine energy. Powerless, feeling powerless is a wounded feminine water element, because water can be calm, but it's really not powerless. It can literally put the fire out. Literally put the fire completely out. But the fire is kind of big and scary, right? Pathological compliance. That is something that is like when, you try to have a boundary and you before you know it, you've just given in without even really thinking about it. That word changed my life when I realized I did that. And then the imbalanced or wounded feminine earth perspective would be impractical, so kind of stuck in fantasy land, unstable, neglectful, detached, physical pain in the body, because these feelings that don't get expressed through the water are going to manifest in physical pain and sickness in the body, because the body is earth. The whole body is earth. Rigid and inflexible, isolated, and then no boundaries. And then when we think about that, like together internally, what does that look like? That's from my workshop. Wrong one. Okay, that's from my workshop too. Okay, that's for my dope. I call my to-do list my dopamine hit list instead of calling it to-do list. So like questions that we can ask ourselves is to figure out how your own masculine and feminine are interacting in your body. When you're doing something you have to do or you love to do, like you're passionate about, do you eat when you're hungry? You need to eat? Do you take breaks when your body is uncomfortable from sitting in a position? Do you get up and go to the bathroom when you need to go to the bathroom? When you're sick, do you go to the doctor? Do you take medicine? When you have a headache, do you take medicine? Do you like put it off? Hi, Germany. When you have anxiety, do you ignore it? What do you do when you have fear come up, or sadness, or any emotion come up in your body and you feel it? What do you do? When you do something that displeases you, or that you didn't want to do, or that you regret, how do you talk to yourself? What do you say to yourself? How do you treat yourself? When was the last time you asked yourself how you were feeling emotionally and just like listen to yourself? When was the last time you talked to yourself? Because community and communication, that's a feminine thing. And then, you know, do you spend time nurturing the relationship with yourself? And I'm going to guess the answer is no, because I didn't even know that was a fucking thing, you know? I hold my phone with my left hand all the time and my shoulder is killing me to the point that I've had to start putting it down and listen to my body. That's been my indication that I'm neglecting and checking out and detaching too much. And I'm kind of actually grateful for this pain in my left shoulder. Can you rely on yourself to show up for yourself? So what does like a balanced human look like? What is a balanced human? That's a human, just a fucking human. We're connected to our body. We feel our feelings without analyzing them. We have community, because remember, toxic masculinity is isolating. Toxic masculinity is self-preserving. It is self-centered. It is, you know, it's individualistic, where feminine, divine feminine energy is about communal. Yes, we take care of the self first, but it's also communal. We share resources. We, you know, after taking care of ourselves, we check in with those around us. We heal. We have boundaries. We feel safe being vulnerable with people in our lives. We're authentic. We are able to meet our own needs emotionally. Compassionate, flexible, practical. We experience joy and pleasure. Sexual energy is feminine, y'all. Enjoying sex and sexual energy is absolutely feminine energy. Outside of just like, okay, trying to procreate, just sexual energy with the self, just enjoying yourself. Introspective, receptive, firm and protective. And look, feminine energy can be destructive. Earth energy can be destructive for the sake of rebuilding. It's this different than fire. Fire energy and air energy is destructive, you know, for defensive, offensive reasons, you know, and because of there's haste there, and it's like no thinking through things. But feminine energy, when it's destructive, it's for the sake of ripping out the foundations. And that's what this Pluto energy is doing. This Pluto energy coming in, and this Pluto retrograde is here to rip out the foundations of these power structures. And, you know, with the positive aspects there, we have a real opportunity for some fucking huge growth. Some huge growth. And I worked with a client today on this very stuff, and we lit our black candle. We lit our black candle, and I'll do that in a second. And we picked out some herbs, anything to do with roots. I do basil as an Italian witch. Basil helps process things with the sacred heart, which for me is going to be the sacral all the way up through the thymus. And then, you know, stones with hematite. And we called on the energy of Pluto, of the underworld, you know, and what that looks like for you, use your archetype. I prefer to work with, you know, I work with to me, Pluto's feminine. Sorry, Pluto's feminine. It's the womb of the Great Mother for me, but do what works for you. You can call on Pluto itself, themselves. You can call on any goddess or god that is of transformation, death, and rebirth, or just the archetype. And then get on the ground. Get on that ground and call on that energy. But you got to connect with the self first. I'm moving very slowly and giving likes. Thank you. So what I want to do tonight, if y'all will sit with me, if you'll sit with me and do this, is I want to help get this work started. But I'm going to tell you, we're inviting, essentially what we are doing, if you do this with me, is that you will be inviting in the Tower energy. You'll be inviting in the Death card energy. You know, the doorway on the tarot, because the tarot cards that came to me for this energy are, number one, the Death card, that's Scorpio, ruled by Pluto. Number two, the Death card, that's ruled by Capricorn. That doorway at the bottom, we are to walk through that doorway. That is where our liberation and freedom comes from, that threshold to that doorway. And then the Lovers card came to me, and I didn't understand until I saw Mercury coming into Gemini on the 29th as well. And then what Venus is doing in the aspects, the Two of Cups, that's that internal stuff going on here. Overall, Libra, justice and balance. And this damn eyelashes. And then there was one more card that came to me. Hold on. Oh, Five of Pentacles. Five of Pentacles is Mercury and Taurus. And that's the energy that is leaving us. Five of Pentacle energy is leaving us. That is an emptiness, an ache inside of us, emptiness in the soul, vacancy, poverty of the soul, that abandonment somebody mentioned. Okay, yeah, I'd love for that. How do I do this? Thank you. I can't see if people are, you're right, because I'm just talking. See if that worked. Did that work? Yes, you may say something if it's, yes, go ahead, of course. Trauma can make us sick. Trauma from past lives, trauma from this life can make us sick or more susceptible to sickness. Stress and cortisol in early childhood damages the thymus gland, and that's where our T cells come from. And so that does make us more susceptible to sicknesses. I mean, autoimmune diseases are tied to the thymus gland, they think. I think some of it can be, like for me, I had developmental trauma from a very early age, but I also think it can be past life stuff. There's a lot of things I disagree with on Dolores Cannon, so I just go with what my spirit guides have taught me. But I didn't know if that was an eyelash that fell off of me. Oh, love you. Love you too. You know, I'll tell you what, from Israel, you know what changed my life? When a friend of mine showed me a picture of the mystical Kabbalah, the Hebrew Kabbalah. It changed my life. It did something, it activated something in me and changed my life. Gussie, did that work? I made you a moderator, I think. Okay, where was I going? I fucking lost my train of thought. So if we can try to get away from the idea that masculine and feminine have anything to do with identity or sex, it's internal energies. It's internal energies. You know, you can, I'm trying to really stick with the whole fire, earth, air, water thing. We want to be living first in earth. And then everything runs through earth and water are to be in charge. Earth and water are to be in charge of the person. And fire and air, that's that strength card in tarot. The woman in there is earth and water, and the lion is fire and air. And she has subdued that part of herself. He has subdued, they have subdued that part of themselves. But that comes from healing. We try to control that. We try to control our behavior, and that is us pinging back and forth between fire and air, fire and air, fire and air. And when we're operating in that air, it looks controlled. It looks healthy, right? But we're gaslighting the shit out of ourselves, and then we're gaslighting the shit out of the people around us. And then eventually, you know what happens? You know, lightning strikes and fucking fire starts again. Hello, hello, hello. I grew up in Houston. I was born in New York, in Brooklyn, and I've been in Tennessee for a very long time. Hi, Michelle. Don't forget to like and follow. What was I going to say? We focus on the external things, like trying to make our body healthy by doing external things. Not that we need to see doctors, okay? We need to do energy work, and we need to do energy work is how we get this stuff uncracked. But we try to change our behavior without dealing with the roots. You cannot, I'm a gardener. If the soil isn't right, I'm not gonna get to grow shit. The soil has to be balanced in order for me to grow good health. And then I got to tend what's growing, right? So I can't just keep treating the fruit that's growing and the plant without dealing with what's going on in the soil. And that's what we have to do. We have to get back to our feminine, all of us, masculine, male, female, non-binary. I don't know all the lists of everybody. We need to get back to our earth of ourselves. Oh, that's so great. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're here. And when I got into this, I said that I would not work with anybody who identified as a man because I was just like, no, it's not my job. Let other men heal them. And then when I realized that I beat myself up with my own toxic masculinity in me, it just really kind of leveled things out for me and gave me a different perspective, and that we are all dealing with the same things, and as women and non-binary people, we do have some community. We have some community, some where people who identify as men struggle a bit more at that. So that's part of this, is building community. And then what Venus is doing during this transit with Pluto is going to allow for connections, authentic connections with friendships. And so it's going to be important that we look at the people in our lives, and they don't have to be people that we talk to every day. Who in your life is someone, I've had some really fucking deep conversations with that person. It could have been 2 or 3 conversations. Those are the people we need to be reaching out to start talking about these things with, Yeah. But what happens when the tree is already there? What happens when the tree is already there and the roots and the soil and everything is rotten? The tree is decaying from the inside. This is where that tower energy comes in. And the tower is high harmonic bliss. The tower is, everyone's scared of the tower card in tarot. It's divine intervention. It's divine intervention. The foundation, the faulty foundations, harmful foundations and structures that we have built our lives upon are being, ripped out from underneath us. And, if you're doing any kind of self-help work of any kind, at some point in your life, you cried out to the universe or somebody and said, hey, I changed this. I can't live like this anymore. And yes, the tower removes that which no longer serves. And so does the death card. And, they've assigned Mars energy to the tower. That's, in my opinion, that is straight Pluto energy. Straight, pure Pluto energy. And same with that death card. And that's the energy we can walk into, and we can choose to access this energy, and we can choose to use and work with these planetary energies to purposefully walk through the threshold. And I want to read something to y'all from my, oh shit, I forgot to put my little incensey thing here. So I keep getting threshold, doorway, threshold. And then my friend pointed out to me the other day, the doorway on that, God damn, I love white copal, but it gets smoky. She pointed out the doorway on the devil card in tarot. And that's where we have to walk into. And look, the devil is not bad. Lucifer, the devil card, it's not a bad thing. When we locked up our trauma and our pain, you don't think we decided subconsciously at some level to make it so terrifying we would never be tempted to go look at it? Lucifer is the light bringer. There's freedom through that door by walking into the darkness, by walking into Pluto is the underworld, by walking into that darkness. That's where we find our true self. The moon, the darkness, you know what I mean? Going into those places is where we're going to find our liberation and our freedom. We walk through that threshold. You literally do have a ball of light inside your body. I had a vision about that, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago. And she showed me my ball of light, and it was covered in black sticky goopy tar, and I've been getting rid of that goopy tar since then. I was talking about the Devil card in tarot. I use tarot a lot, so it's kind of like that helps me with archetypal themes, trying to kind of, where the hell is my regular tarot deck? Let me grab them. I always assume people who come on here are familiar with tarot too, so my bad. So for people who are just joining, tarot themes for this Pluto retrograde: Death card, Tower card, the Lovers card. This is internal, y'all. No boyfriends, girlfriends right now. Or this is about internal alignment. Okay, Two of Cups, internal alignment. Don't go reading into that. And the energy that is falling away is the Five of Pentacles energy. That's the energy we're moving away from on the 29th. I don't know, any of y'all know what Five of Pentacles is. It's a card of internal poverty. It's a card of internal poverty and lack. Earth is about safety and security. That card for me reminds me of fear of abandonment and rejection at the core of a person. That's what that Five of Pentacles is. That's the energy that we have the opportunity to allow to fall away if we walk through this threshold that's coming before us. 100% confident of this. I walked a client through it today. It was unbelievable. Devil card is my favorite card to get. Well, okay. I'm glad I'm not getting it anymore, but it is, when I see that card, I go, okay, something's ready to come up. All right, Lucifer, thank you for hiding what I asked you to hide from me. I'm ready to see what has been hidden in the dark. Unchain me and bring light to what is hidden. And I mean, almost instantly, shit will come out of me. Literally, instantly. I have to tap my knees sometimes to get it out, by the way. Knees. Where the hell is this damn Devil card? Okay, here's that Five of Pentacles card. This energy is falling away, y'all. This energy is falling away. For many people who've been trying to manifest. I'm sure if you look at your life, you've been manifesting, just not the big things you want. This is the energy that has been blocking it, okay? This energy is falling away with this Pluto retrograde, but you have to step through the threshold, okay? Into, the darkness and call on that energy, whatever represents that dark place for you. A regeneration, death, rebirth, and transformation, okay? You can even call on, you can call on, Archangel Raphael if you feel like that stuff is not for you. But I wanted to hurry up. And in my healing experience, it has been most expedient to call on the energy of what I call the womb of the Great Mother, Underworld. It's faster. Okay, here we go. Okay, there's the door on the Devil card right there. See that door? That's our freedom. If you notice, their chains are connected to the door. They can get through that door. The collective is seeing a lot of energy falling away. Yes, it's energy that's been holding us back. For those of us that have been, crying. I wouldn't even say doing the work. Some of us have just been crying out because we don't know what to do. Some of us, I spent a lot of years crying out because I didn't know what to do, trying all kinds of things. And the universe is merciful and just, and this energy is just falling away. And, this energy is coming in on the 29th with that Death card, with, that Tower energy. I prefer the path of the Death card and the Devil card. I prefer those paths to the Tower, y'all, because the Tower can be a little unsettling. The Death card, Devil card, you are purposefully walking through. So you're kind of sidestepping Tower energy when you purposefully pursue your shadows. The path and the Kabbalah, they lead to the same place, the Tower card, the Devil card, okay? So they're leading to the same place, which is self and wholeness, healing. One, the divine comes in and just says, okay, fine, I tried, to let you do it, but we're just ripping that shit out from underneath you. The other one is, okay, I'm just gonna take control here and take the reins, and I'm jumping in that ice cold fucking water. I'm doing this. So it's gonna happen either way with this Pluto retrograde. Either way or the other. I'm all for like taking control. Not taking control, but like the chariot, harnessing the energies and fucking riding that cart right on through, you know? Freya is another one you can call on too to work with for this kind of energy. Freya, Kali, the Morrigan, Sekhmet, who's some other goddesses? Right? Yes, great. Did you know, when I found out that she rode a chariot with 2 cats, I'm like, this sons of bitches put a dude in the chariot. But now I picture, whenever I see the chariot card, I picture Freya. Yeah, we worked with, and I love this picture here because to me, this is our feminine energy, our earth in males and females and non-binaries and any other identity. This is our earth and our water coming together and stepping into our power as fully embodying ourselves, our full authentic selves with this toxic masculinity. That's what that is. That's what that shit is right there. That's the fucking patriarchy, and that is toxic masculinity. And we are all wounded by it regardless. And so this is some good energy too, you know, as well. And you can call in archetypes, and you can call in angels. You can call, you know, whatever. The idea is that you want this to happen. Transformation, rebirth, death. I mean, I guess if you were a Christian, you know, I guess Jesus did get, you know, die and raised from the dead. So I suppose you could call on Jesus too. I don't know. That makes sense. Let's throw that out there. Totally her. Yeah. So I'm going to light this candle, y'all. If I can find my lighter. So black candle for Pluto. And I did burn, where the hell did my thing go? I got mugwort for that sacral chakra because we all need to work on that. That's where we can come together into that seat of the self and to get into that beginning energy, the beginning before the beginning when we were in the womb, because we all came from a womb, regardless of who we are, how we turned out. We came from a womb, so we need to go back to that energy. So mugwort, and then basil. Basil is great for bringing trauma through the sacred heart, healing and bringing that stuff up through the sacred heart. Hematite is good for this work, or this is brachiated Jasper. It's nurturing with that hematite. That helps ease the release of this stuff. And lit my candle.